Welcome back, I'm Todd Wise, and in this episode, we're going to talk about setting your workout agenda so you can be more intentional and we can learn from my personal experience to help you become better, fitter, faster, stronger, or just a little bit more healthy. Here we go. All right, let's start with what I did. It was on the Devil's Tricycle, the Wheel of Death, endurance maker or breaker. I like the assault bike. I don't know why people say those things about it. I really enjoy it. It's a good way to increase fitness and thresholds and training, and you know it's a big part of CrossFit, and you got to be really good at it and do all the calories. And if you don't do the calories, then you suck. And anyways, so the session was 6 sets of 2 minutes of work on the bike, 1 minute of rest, holding the calories the whole time. That was just the work. You're gonna ride the bike for 2 minutes, rest 1 minute, repeat effort, right? Most of you guys see that in any training program you get, whether that's from a blog or a one-on-one coach, and that's what you get. You might get a little bit of instructions there and some things from last week or what we're looking for, but really that's all you got. So when I got that piece of work, I look at it and I say, what is this good for? What can I improve? How is this gonna help me? And today's session, what can I get the most out of this singular piece that I'm going to do on the assault bike for 6 rounds of 2 minutes of work and 1 minute of rest? So the first thing I thought of is, well, this session could help my 10-minute assault bike time trial. If I could hold a certain number of calories per minute, then I can grow within the 2 minute times with the 1 minute rest and allow me to build out the maximum calories I can get in 10 minutes. So for me, my goal is to get 180 to 200 calories in the 10-minute assault bike time trial. So this training session today can increase my ability to repeat efforts and sustain that output. The only way I'm going to build that output is by training that output. So today in the 2 minutes, I'm going to hold the output of 17 to 18 calories a minute and keep that going for the duration of the 6 sets of 2 minutes of work and 1 minute of rest. That's going to grow my 10-minute assault bike time trial. This is also going to benefit me in training and competition. If there's 2 minutes of assault bike work, or I know that I need to do 30 to 50 calories, I can roughly estimate it's going to take me anywhere from a minute 30 to 2:30, depending on the work that is required for me to do based on that workout. So now I have a touch point and an understanding of a metric that I can use in real time to train and compete, allowing me to make strategies that will maximize my outcome and my performance in those training sessions or the competition. The thing I thought that this could help me with in this training session today that I identified was breathing cadence on the assault bike. And I really thought about my breath when it got hard, when I was starting up, when I was ramping the bike, and even in my recovery. So those were the 3 things that I focused on in this training session. Let's get into more detail. So before I started the session, I did a 10-minute warm-up on the assault bike. I went for 10 minutes at 80% effort, and I pushed myself to see what the RPMs and watts were in that 10 minutes and what I could sustain. This would create the bottom end of what I think I could do in the training session today as far as RPMs and cadence. And then I could kind of guess and see where the line was of my personal threshold based on the goal that I wanted to achieve, being the 18 calories every minute for the 2 minutes in each set of the 2 minute rounds. So I set the goal and parameters for each round. I was going to stay between 68 and 71 RPMs, which is about 340 to 450 watts each minute. That was going to allow me to achieve the goal that I wanted, and it gave me the numerical data and the constant feedback on the monitor. So I knew that I was going to hit my goal every 2 minutes. Then after the 2 minutes of work, I had the 1 minute of recovery. In this portion, I really focused on my breath, and if I felt like I was out of breath, I just allowed myself to cycle my breathing faster. I think a lot of times people will breathe and they'll try to slow their breathing down and control their breathing, which I think is great. But if you're gasping for air or you can't breathe or your cycle rate of breathing has sped up, I would encourage you to match the breathing. Just breathe anywhere from 5 to 10 breaths quickly. Get the oxygen in and the carbon dioxide out and match that breathing before you go into a slower cadence breathing. As you transition into the slower cadence breathing, I'd like for you to breathe in, hold for a count of 3, exhale slow, hold for a count of 3 on the exhale, repeat that 2 more times, and then take 1 long breath in, breathe out, and slow your breathing that way. This way, you can get a lot of oxygen in and CO2 out and focus on something that allows you to really tune into your breath. So in this example, once you hit that 2 minute mark, you're gonna be huffing and puffing. Breathe in fast and hard. So anywhere from 5 to 10 breaths, and then take a long one in, hold for 3 seconds, exhale slow, hold for 3 seconds, repeat that 2 to 3 times, and then that way you can slow your breathing down, but you've got oxygen in, you've held the oxygen, you've exhaled it out, and you've slowed and calmed your mind. This might help you. It really helped me, and that's what I did in my 1 minute recovery. So the third goal I had was to hold myself mentally to the plan. The plan was to hold a certain RPM. The plan was to recover appropriately in the 1 minute and focus on my breathing. And that got really hard. On that fourth round, it started to get hard. I was breathing a lot heavier. I could feel my heart rate going a little bit harder. And the fourth round to the fifth round recovery was a little challenging. But I anchored myself back to that goal of focusing on my breathing and doing those circular breaths and being in control of the breathing pattern that I was choosing to allow myself to calm down and relax, which gave me a sense of like, you're in control. You're choosing your breath, you're choosing the breathing and the recovery that you're getting right now, and it's up to you to maintain these efforts. You made a promise to yourself and you're gonna do it. So rounds 5 and 6 were actually pretty easy, but I had to recenter myself in round 4. Some of you guys might experience that in round 2, but wherever you experience that, bring yourself back and have that goal. And that goal should be something where you're trying to be in control of your mental and tangible mindset. Focus on a mindset piece. And for me, that was staying focused in the goal that I had, holding myself to the RPMs, holding myself to the recovery, and pushing myself to those efforts that I already set the parameters for and doing it for all 6 rounds. And however that process works for you mentally, that's just how it worked for me. And then I would always anchor myself back to the 2 first goals that allowed me to achieve my third goal, which was staying in it mentally. So after you set that agenda, what's left is to do the workout. So I set how this is gonna improve me and my training and what in the long term this is gonna improve. I set the goals I wanted to hit, being the RPMs, the recovery, breathing, and then holding myself in it mentally. And now we gotta ask how it went. I know it seems kind of redundant because we already looked at the training itself. We set an agenda, we set the goals, how it's gonna improve you, and then now you're looking back. Looking back is probably the most important part when you're gonna see if you hit all those goals and if you actually improved yourself based on the context that you built around that training today. And that's how we create purpose and intention in our training, going through that process and steps. This may be super challenging because some of you guys might be doing anywhere from 3 to 8 pieces a day, and you have to go through this process 3 to 8 times to really maximize the outcome of your training every single day, day in, day out, week to week, month to month, year to year. And it can be very exhausting. But this is gonna be the most rewarding thing because it's not only gonna improve you in your fitness, you're gonna get to learn about yourself and what you really wanna get out of training, what your goals need to be, what long-term goals you might have. And every time you go through this, you might learn a little bit more about like, oh, I didn't actually wanna do 180 calories on the assault bike for 10-minute time trial. That was just something that I knew that could get me X. And you can build on that throughout this process of setting an agenda and actually being purposeful and intentful in your training. And a lot of people use those words and throw them around everywhere. And I hopefully was able to articulate how intention can be broken down into a process, and you might try to use it. All right, so the moment that you've all been waiting for, you want to know how I did on that session. Well, I held 68 RPMs on average throughout the whole session. I was able to hit my calories within 1 to 2 calories each set. Like I told you, I had the hiccup on round 4 mentally. I had to bring myself back in and finish the last 2 rounds. I was really proud of myself, and I like to use Garmin watch to check my training to see if my heart rate, peaks, and my recoveries matched how I felt during that session. So just for an example, I'm gonna quickly show my Garmin right here. What that's gonna do is show you guys the nice waves in this training. There's a gray line that goes straight across this graph, and then you're gonna see the peaks in my heart rate and the recoveries. You'll notice that my heart rate drops below my average heart rate each set, even through that 4th and 5th set, where I said that I had a mental and physical perceived rate of exertion that was very challenging. But biologically, from the heart rate metric, it shows that I was recovering, which is great. So that's gonna allow me to look back and debrief this training session today and go, oh, you were doing a great job. You were putting out, you were doing the things you needed to do. You were hitting the calories that you chose based on setting an assessment of what you wanted to get out of this piece of training today. And then your perceived exertion in the 4th to 5th round was kind of a lie to you, and now you can adjust that in the next training sessions to come and be able to ask yourself, am I really hurting from this, or is this something that I can push through? And looking at this feedback from the Garmin is going to allow me to just kind of confirm and make a confirmation bias that I am hitting the session hard with intense output, I'm recovering appropriately, and I'm able to do that for all 6 sets. And I'm really happy with this graph, and that's why I want to share it with you guys. Hopefully this video helped you guys out today in finding intention in your training, what that process actually looks like, and how you as the athlete can take responsibility and build out context around every single piece that you have for that day. And if you're just a general member who's going to a CrossFit gym, you can do this too. If that's in your warm-up, you can look at the pieces. If you're working on in that warm-up, you can really make some intention around that piece to get you better at maybe getting deeper in a squat or in a better overhead position or creating some more strength and stability. You could identify the areas of weakness that you have before going into class, writing them down and deciding that that's what you're going to work on for the day. And then when you have your conditioning or your Metcon at the end, same thing as I did with the assault bike. What do you want to achieve? How is this going to make you better? What's the goal that you need to hit to achieve that little bit of progress that's going to have an outcome down the road that improves your fitness or your mental toughness? Thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful in setting an agenda in your training and showing you a process of how to build intention and pull the most out of your fitness every single day. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we have a new video. And if you have anything, questions, comments, comment down below, leave us some information so we can help you on new things, training, lifestyle, and fitness, and we'll see you guys in the next video. In this episode, we talk about setting an agenda for your exercise. Okay.